Hello, this is a quick tutorial on how to make wood shattering or something shattering wood. This guy asked me to do it a couple months ago, but I was busy. And he said something about cricket, baseball, or something with balls. And we're just gonna make a little rectangle cube, and you can model that into anything you want. And we're just gonna have a sphere hit the cube, and it shatter like it's wood. Okay, to start, we're just gonna lift this up just so it's off the ground, and then we're gonna add a plane. I'm gonna scale that plane up just so it's decent in size. We can get rid of this light and move the camera later. Now to start, we're just gonna stretch out this thing, the cube, so it's a rectangle. Make it bigger, make it however big you want. And now we want to make sure that it's not in the floor, so there's like a gap. Otherwise it will collide with the floor and explode like a big crazy. Okay, so for the next step, you want to make sure that you have in your add-ons cell fracture enabled. So just go in add-ons, preferences to get to add-ons, and make sure you have cell fracture enabled. The next step is get your annotate pencil and basically mark where you want the ball to hit. Just add some drawings, make the lines like a kind of a web. This is where the cell fracture add-on will focus on its cuts. So I'm just gonna, it doesn't have to be anything like that, just it'll give it a guide. The next thing, you want to select the cube, go to Objects, Quick Effects, and Cell Fracture. Now this is the important step. Don't click OK yet. And I'm just gonna go from top to bottom what you have to change. Okay. The first thing is you want to click Annotation Pencil, so it'll actually read the annotation pencil that you drew. Source limit, I think I did 600 for my tests. Just a lot of things. If your computer can't handle it, maybe go for a lower number. For the noise, I think 0.6 is good, just around there. You can change it a bit. Now to make the splintering of the wood, you want to change the Z axis. So this is X, Y, and Z, so up and down is Z. And I think 0.02 is pretty good. Maybe 0.01. We'll see. For the next area, the recursion. So this is like subdividing the shards. All of these are the same, 8, 250, 0.25. Now for this, I would put cursor close. And I moved the cursor just in the middle, like roughly in the middle, where I drew the pencil. Now you could do that too. I'm pretty sure that it might have an effect, so you make sure you want to do that. Now I clicked off it, so I have to change all these settings again. Okay, I'm back at it, and cursor close. So there we go. If you want a new material for the inside of the thing, you would click 1 here, and that's basically it. For the margin, don't put 0.00 because when you click on it, there's actually a hidden 1 and it doesn't show up. So if you're copying me exactly, just make sure that you have a 1 in there. And for the rest, you could add a collection. I'm just going to call it wood bits, and that'll make a new collection because it'll create thousands of separate objects. And now click OK, and you'll see it all updating like that. Now as you can see, it made a bunch of things, so you can close this collection up. And with this cube, you just want to hide it, and hide from the render view as well. So it doesn't have this weird clipping thing going on. Now with the annotation pencil, you can just hold Control and get rid of it all, because we don't need it anymore. Now if you want it to be fractured more, like this big piece is too big for me, so I'm going to cell fracture and just run it through again. And now this is the tricky part. You want to select this big piece of wood that was here before and just delete it. Now this one's also too big and it's nice in the middle, so I do want to cell fracture it again, and I'll just run it again. Now the next step is to make it a rigid body simulation. To do this, we're going to just click up here and select all objects. And we go with all the objects selected. Now go up here for object, rigid body, and add active. Now for the floor, we're going to add it as a passive. Now when we click play, it'll all fall down. Now the next step is the ball, because we do want it to hit a ball. So we'll get a pretty well-sized ball here, and we'll just animate it so it goes through the block. To do this, we're just going to set it on this edge, doesn't have to be exact. Hit I, and location and rotation. Now we'll go about to frame 69. That's a good frame. And go to the other side and hit I again, and location and rotation. Now I'm going to click A on this timeline, hit T, and make it linear, so it doesn't have any fancy curves. And as you can see, it just goes straight through like that. That's perfect. And you're probably wondering, but Hexo, this isn't doing anything and it's falling too early. No, shut up. Anyway, the next step is we select the ball, go to rigid body and add active. And you're probably wondering, it's just going to fall straight down. Yeah, it is. So we have to go to the rigid body settings over here, physics, and hit animated. And then it just animates and it still is rigid. So we want this to fall when the ball hits it. There. So what we do is make one of them animated, and then we can apply the animation to all of them at the same time. So we're just going to make that an animated one. Hit I, go to the next frame and disable disable it, and then hit I, sorry. And then that's it. So we can play this animation, it'll stay here, and it'll fall. Now I think this animation's a bit too late, so I'm just going to move it back a frame like that. Alright, so I've just moved it back a bit so it actually turns off just before the ball hits. Now what we want to do is select all of them, but keep this one as the main selector. So I'm just going to hit Alt-Z so I can select it manually, instead of going up here. And just hold Shift and do that. Select all of it. Now everything should be selected, and this main one is like a brighter yellow or orange than the rest of the orange. And as you can see, it's still the animated one. Next up is you hit Control L and then link animation data. And that should link all the animation data, so all of these are animated just like the first one was. Now when we hit play, it should keep still and actually enter the rigid body state as soon as the ball hits. Just like that. Now if you want more detail or make it a bit more accurate, we're gonna go up here, select everything, go to Objects, Rigid Body, and Calculate Mass. Now you get this massive list, and because it's wood, we're gonna make this timber, the bottom one, or second bottom one. Now all of them have a different mass, based on the volume they use. And that just makes the big ones a bit heavier and the lighter ones lighter. And that's pretty much it for this tutorial. Now you can make this cube into any shape, apply the cell fracture, and just exact same steps. Even for the ball, you can make it a cube, you can make it anything you want. Any type of mesh. So that's it. This is the fundamentals of fracturing wood. With a projectile, of course. If you want to make it slow motion, just put it in the comments. It's fairly easy to do. Just let me know though. And I promise it won't take that long for me to publish. Hopefully. I don't know. Depends how this one goes. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully it wasn't too long. Mr. Man that likes balls.